Dexter Morgan, the infamous blood spatter analyst turned vigilante serial killer, was presumed dead after the bloody events of Dexter New Blood. The world watched as Dexter, the anti-hero we love to hate, seemingly met his end in the most dramatic and final way possible. But now, against all odds, Dexter is back. Dexter. Resurrection is here, and it's challenging everything we thought we knew about the character, his fate, and his twisted sense of justice. The question everyone's asking, how could a character who was supposed to be dead return from the grave? And even more importantly, why? Let's take a deep dive into the resurrection of Dexter, a character whose story has never been simple, whose morality has always been murky, and whose return could open up a whole new set of questions. Did we really think he was gone for good? If you know Dexter, you know that nothing is ever truly over. But the shocking twist behind his return will leave you reeling. When we last saw Dexter Morgan, he was abandoned on a boat in the middle of a storm, alone and seemingly accepting his fate. The screen went black, and with it, our hopes of ever seeing the beloved anti-hero again. It was supposed to be the end, his final chapter. His son Harrison was left with a future uncertain, his dark past, his dark passenger still lurking. Dexter was dead, and his death seemed like the perfect way to close this complex, controversial character's arc. But Dexter, Resurrection, a continuation of the Dexter universe, turns this conclusion on its head. How could this happen? The first shocking revelation comes in the form of a very simple question. How the hell did Dexter survive? At first glance, it seems impossible. He was shot, he drowned, and the storm had swallowed him whole. But the showrunners have managed to craft a storyline that explains the unexplainable. Dexter's death was never as final as we thought. And while the mechanics of his survival may be slightly murky, one thing is certain, he's back and the world's a darker place because of it. This resurrection of Dexter Morgan isn't just about his physical return, though. It's about the psychological transformation that follows. Dexter has always been someone caught between two worlds. His life as a seemingly normal man and his dark, violent alter ego that compels him to kill. In Dexter Resurrection, this internal struggle reaches new heights as he navigates the consequences of his actions and the new world he finds himself in. The first major shock comes when we realize that Dexter's return isn't a simple return to normal. He's not the same man he once was. The life he left behind is gone. His job, his family, the people who once meant everything to him, most of them are now distant memories. But more importantly, the one person who mattered most, his son, Harrison, is missing. His death was the catalyst that led Dexter down a dark path, but now it's the source of his motivation. It's the reason he's alive. Dexter's resurrection isn't just a physical one, it's a psychological one too. The next chapter of Dexter's dark journey. But here's the thing, the way Dexter, Resurrection plays with his return is brilliant. The show doesn't shy away from exploring the consequences of Dexter's actions, the lasting trauma left behind, and the repercussions of living a life of lies. Dexter isn't back to his old tricks, and that's what makes this series so compelling. Now, he's forced to confront his past in a way he never has before. Dexter's dark past is something he's always carried with him, but now, in this resurrection, it's no longer something he can bury. It's not just about surviving anymore. It's about finding redemption, or at least attempting to. Dexter's return isn't about a man who was simply gone for a while and now reappears in perfect condition. His emotional scars are still there. The trauma is real, and it's clear from the first moments of the new series that Dexter is a man in search of something to make his twisted life make sense again. It's also about a father's love, a twisted, dark love that drives him to do what's necessary no matter the cost. The burning question for Dexter fans now is, will he find his son? Will he ever find peace with what he's done? Or will his need to survive and protect Harrison drag him further into the darkness? The return of the dark passenger. As if resurrecting Dexter wasn't shocking enough, there's another twist waiting in the wings. The dark passenger, the very thing that made Dexter the monster he was, isn't gone. In fact, it's back with a vengeance. Dexter's most dangerous enemy isn't just the people who know his secrets or the law closing in on him. It's his own darkness, his own compulsion to kill. The dark passenger is something Dexter can never escape. And in Dexter, resurrection, it seems to have gained even more control over him. It's this struggle with his darker side that makes Dexter's return so compelling. He's not just a man trying to survive. He's a man desperately trying to suppress a darkness that will always define him. The question that looms over the entire series is, will Dexter be able to overcome his urge to kill? Or will his need for revenge and control consume him again? But Dexter's return isn't just about him, it's about everyone around him. There are new faces, new challenges, and old faces that have returned to complicate Dexter's already chaotic life. His relationships, strained by years of lies, deception, and violence, now have to navigate the fallout of his resurrection. One of the most intriguing elements of Dexter, resurrection, is the introduction of new characters, some of whom have ties to Dexter's past, and others who will challenge his moral compass. The question now is how these new characters will fit into the story, and more importantly, how Dexter will respond to them. Will they help him find his way, or will they drag him deeper into his twisted world? The impact on Dexter's legacy. For Dexter, there's a profound weight to his return. He's been to hell and back, and now he has to face the consequences of his choices. Dexter's resurrection isn't just about the return of a beloved character, it's about the larger question of how far one can go in search of redemption, and how far one can fall without losing their soul completely. And yet, Dexter's story isn't one of complete redemption. It's a story of a man who constantly struggles with his demons and his capacity for violence. Dexter may have survived, but in many ways, he's as broken as ever. The tragedy is that the very thing that makes him a survivor, the darkness inside him, is also what's slowly destroying him. In Dexter Resurrection, we see a character who is both a victim and a perpetrator, constantly fighting to reconcile the two parts of himself. Fans of the series will recognize this conflict. Dexter has always been a character whose moral compass was bent, never truly straight. His actions were justified in his mind, but they were always morally ambiguous. In his resurrection, Dexter is confronted with the very thing that made him who he is: his need to kill, his need to control, and his need for vengeance. But now, the stakes are higher than ever. What comes next? As Dexter Resurrection unfolds, we'll be left asking whether Dexter will truly find peace, or if he'll be forever trapped by his past. Will he finally achieve redemption, or will his dark urges once again prove too strong? The biggest question of all, however, is, can Dexter truly escape his past? Or is he doomed to repeat the same cycle of violence and despair? His resurrection is the start of a new chapter, but it's also the beginning of a much darker journey. For Dexter, there is no final escape. There is only the struggle for survival, and perhaps for redemption. In the end, Dexter's return isn't just about the character coming back to life. It's about facing his demons, confronting the consequences of his actions, and the deep, dark desire that will always drive him. This is a resurrection of more than just a man. It's a resurrection of the twisted, complicated legacy that defines Dexter Morgan. And with that legacy comes an uncertain future. A future that promises to be as dark and unpredictable as ever.